It's been a few weeks since the Deadpool and Wolverine film, and on the road to going to watch that movie and coming out of it, the film just felt like it missed something. The cameos were great and added this layer of its story compared to the use of cameos in, like, let's say, a multiverse of madness, but it was still far off from like the enjoyment and joy we got to see in, let's say, a Spider-Man No Way Home. And I just want to note out there that out of the three films, I think the only one I've seen twice is Multiverse of Madness, because unpopular opinion, out of the other two films, this is my favorite. Honestly, other than maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, my favorite Marvel film post Endgame has to be this one. I love this era of Marvel content, referencing stuff that happened in Infinity War and Endgame, and how what happened in those films are affecting the lives of people. And we see people point that out or see how the world has changed because of what happened. Why did they stop doing that in these movies? I know, like, maybe it's as time has passed and all of that, and they don't really dwell on it, but still, I loved it. And I'm going to start with the big elephant in the room with this film, and it's not even the multiverse problem that it has, but the horror problem. I don't really remember the marketing of this movie, but from a little bit of the research I did, I saw that most people were hoping to get much more of like a horror MCU movie. Like, did Werewolf at Night come out before this? I think Werewolf at Night came out before after this. And even though the movie does have sprinkles of that, I remember on my initial watch there was this moment that, okay, not moment, but there's this specific moment that made me jump a little. And I also had a couple other, like, not really scary moments, but like cool horrific moments. But they were really few and far between, paired with the surprises to see like Wanda was the antagonist. On first viewing, it completely shocked me. I did not expect that, and I was a fan, and it worked for me. Not throughout the film. I think the conclusion with the character was a bit of BS, but the whole motive and reason of our character too was a bit dumb. But look away from all of that. Let's just put like a poster to like cover that up. But just her as a character, how powerful they made her, the dark path the film took for most of it, and the MCU magic depiction here too for both magical characters was so cool. And as much as this movie still has that MCU formula, I still believe that it all worked as a collective too to also show that Sam Raimi magic. Like, there's a lot of this reminiscence to his Evil Dead films, but it's called Multiverse of Madness, and it's a bit disheartening that after the Spider-Man film, which gave us all that taste of the multiverse, like that tease of it in a theatrical lens, we got less of that in a film that's supposedly based on it. And I don't even hate it as much as people do. We see two of our old characters, both powerful characters, mind you, and a fan cast on here too, and they just die in a flash. If anything, it adds to just how powerful Wonder was at the moment. But even if you're not going to spend that time to get the other cameos or other Doctor Stranges or a Scarlet Witch, let's do the Loki approach, that they stop in a universe for a bit and see how the place is like. Because only visiting two universes in a Multiverse of Madness film, it's a bit disingenuous. Like, even Deadpool at the start, we see different universes, but I'll get to that later. Multiverse of Madness, though, as a whole movie package compared to the other twos, I saw it as a more entertaining film that I can watch like probably next week again. It was a different approach to any of the MCU movies we have seen at the time, till I guess Werewolf by Night. And I really hope more superheroes do what this film tried to do. I know New Mutants also had like some horror elements thrown in there, but it's not really a good movie. But the first multiverse MCU film being Spider-Man No Way Home, and I love this film so much on that initial cinema watch that I'm so scared to rewatch this because I think it will end that love. Because that love has slowly been fading away, and as I sat down to actually even watch this movie, I was just like, I can't do this. The hate this film gets that it's just fan service. It's valid. And to be honest, even more as the Deadpool film that came out like a couple weeks ago. But we will see in 3 years. I can't talk for that right now. But that initial watch, I love the cameos even more than I did on Deadpool. Maybe because this time I actually grew up watching the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films, the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man films, compared to the cameos in the Deadpool ones that I watched some of those movies when I was younger, but not most of those films. And to also see Mark Murdock again and see John Jonah Jameson, I know they're not a part of the multiverse thing, but they're still additions in this film. And the villains as well, the Spider-Man villains, was just all satisfying to see on that initial watch. But I can barely remember this film, so I'm not even going to talk too much about it. But it's kind of funny the inconsistency of the traveling through the multiverse magic thing that the MCU has with the inconsistencies, because they could just portal some of these guys from the multiverse, and Wanda needed America Chavez to do that for her in, like, it doesn't make sense, and it still gets more complicated in the following films. And I'm just going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine now. I do not want to go stuff for the Spider-Man movie. And to come to the newest installment of the multiverse in the MCU, Deadpool and Wolverine, I tried to minimize all my knowledge I had going into this. So apart from the title and also that Tom Wambsgans was going to come in to be this addition and X-23 was going to be in this, and she was obviously going to be in this film. I don't know why people were so shocked when they saw her in that final trailer, because out of all the cameos, she was probably the one that I would have expected her. So since I'm already talking about the multiverse cameos, let me just start there. Don't care too much about Pyro and any of the background X-Men characters, maybe apart from the Red Devil guy, but would I prefer to see like maybe an Iceman, or for villains maybe you get Vinnie Jones. I know he said he didn't want to be in that suit, but still. And also even the Sabretooth appearance for like 10 seconds, and it was just this let them fight and them just standing while Deadpool is talking. I can't lie, those moments just really annoyed me and took me away from the film. Elektra also being here, this might also be an age thing coming to play, as I never watched that film or even the Daredevil one. But yeah, get Colin Firth and Ben Affleck, yeah, especially Colin Firth as Bullseye. Why didn't you just get him here instead of Pyro? No disrespect to the Pyro actor. Blade, on the other hand, he was cool to see, I would admit, but it's still the same problem with the Elektra thing for me. But that's more of a personal thing because I just didn't grow up with these movies. And obviously Channing Tatum as Gambit, that one was the real shocker for me, and I was so happy to see him in this, finally getting his time to play this character. And Johnny Storm cameo, this was one that I actually grew up on, so I was really happy to see that. But for the movie itself, I'm going to disclaim I haven't watched any of the Deadpool films since 2018. And I did watch the first one multiple times, so that movie has a soft spot for me. But this was honestly a huge drop off from the first two, in my opinion. Or maybe I'm just getting older and I just do not really find the Deadpool character as funny as I did when I was younger, or I just do not connect with his type of humor. The film's plot, I was not really a fan of it. I do not get it. I understand the whole Wolverine arc, but for what this type of film is, did we actually need him to go through this whole emotional thing? I feel like the bromance between him and I feel like the bromance between him and Deadpool was enough on its own. We didn't need this whole sad and gloomy, he betrayed his whole X-Men group. Like, please, let's just move on. It's not this kind of movie. And this might also be a me thing too, but what we had in Loki, does that not just count anymore? The whole point of the second season was to fix the timeline and all the multiverse issues. So what was all the waffling about at the start? And also the actual part of the TVA, why don't they do something? Why does it take them so long before they actually come and save the day at the end? And I really hate the final act of this film, all the Deadpool characters. And for this cameo driven film, why didn't they just bring back the X-Men origin Deadpool? Like, come on, that was so easy to put that guy back in the film. And don't come with that Deadpool 2 BS that he killed him. That was time travel, so that doesn't mean anything. This film exists on its own multiverse. I liked how the Professor Xavier's sister's B villain looked so much like James McAvoy. The casting directors were on their back for that. But aside the likeness, they really did not do anything for her character narratively. She's easily the worst villain in the entire trilogy. She's basically the plot device to deviate and extend the story. And I know that they can do whatever they want with their characters and everything, but I don't know, I felt like the whole appeal of the American Chavez character was the fact that she was like the only person that could jump through multiverses. So why can't every other character in every other movie do the same thing? Just inconsistencies for me. Even Tom Wambsgans, he was such a terribly produced villain in such a drop-off. Like, this movie was such a drop-off in that villain department from the other films in the trilogy. But the Deadpool multiverse film did a big multiverse. And you know what? Because of the budget, they had to limit the amount of multiversing around they could do. Hence why we just got a bunch of Deadpools at the end. But I still think we need this proper multiverse film that we actually explore the multiverse and see how different realities are like, you know, like how we saw in freaking Invincible, like how we saw in Everything Everywhere All at Once, like how we saw in which other movie has done a multiverse so far. I can't really think of any right now. But yeah, we need that. We need to see different worlds. We need to see different themes and outcomes and all of that, rather than just spending so much money on a cameo fest in these films. And funny enough, as much as Multiverse of Madness is also regarded as the weakest in that department, it's literally the only one that technically did that. Take us to other universes. Yes, it was only 2, but it still did it. And I know Deadpool and Wolverine technically did that at the start when Deadpool was looking for other Wolverines. You know what? I'll give that movie its stars for that. Shout out them for doing that. So yeah, like, why can't we just get that in a multiverse film? But see, I just really wanted to talk about the Deadpool movie and also Doctor Strange. I will confess, Spider-Man's inclusion in this video was just for clickbait. That's why I barely even talked about it. But see, I hope you enjoyed the video still. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love. Bye.